Hey guys, I'm Arwen, the professional joy seeker, professional tarot consultant, and published author. I'm going to be talking today. I was going to be talking with the amazing Robin Owens of the Celta Heartmate series, Ghost Seer, the Summoning. She's done so much. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, so we weren't able to bring her on. Pout. But we are going to be talking about writing today. So, here's what I want to do. I want to tell y'all a little bit about one of the sections of my book and how that works. And then we're going to talk about how to use tarot for your characters. So I'm going to be taking questions from the audience. And I'm going to pull the chat up now. Uh-oh, stripper K-pole is in the background. Let's change that. I was just talking to somebody this morning, and he was talking about his background being too distracting. And I thought, oh, sweetie, have you seen mine? And if y'all haven't watched Spoon of Consciousness here on YouTube, you gotta go. I did an interview with him that'll be showing up end of July, August, somewhere in that time. Amazing. So let's go ahead and get this chat going. First of all, what we're going to start with is me staring at my phone for a minute. Fun, right? Here we go. I've got us pulled up now. Got to get the volume turned down and the chat turned up. And I see folks in there. Good morning and hello, everybody. So, today's part of the ArwenWrites series. This is episode 3. We were going to have Robin Owens on. Robin couldn't make it because of some technical difficulties. No worries. She's an amazing writer. I actually know her. I've met her in real life. And the thing I can tell you about Robin is that she is an incredibly the way she dresses, it's amazing. She had this shawl on that I still remember, right? The very first time I met her, I still remember that shawl, and I still want it. Watch out, Robin, I'm coming for that shawl someday. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about mapping the hero's journey. Why tarot for writing? Why not? You know, it's if you think about it, it's a visual board, a vision board. It's a visual tool. A lot of us writers use a whole bunch of tools. We have like things like Scrivener. We have notepads. We have, where's my notepad? Here's one of mine, that I carry around and jot down in and just keep up with. This is actually product placement. This is by Joey McFarland Leathers. Joey is a dear, dear, dear friend of mine. Or the person who runs Joey McFarland. I don't call them Joey. But you can ask them to make custom stuff for you. And, it's even stamped on the back. It's amazing. I had one made for my husband that just turned out beautifully. It's black. It's exactly what he wanted. It's got his name on it. He didn't want all the fancy dancy stuff. But back to writing and tarot. I'm looking at my tarot decks, and I want to show y'all that you can also do this with oracle decks, right? You don't have to use tarot, because what you're doing is you're giving your brain, your creative side, visual clues. So the visual clue is what triggers you to write. Often, we talk about something called writer's block. I have yet to meet a professional author who believes in writer's block. So, now you can get stuck, you can get stalled, but writer's block, it's kind of an excuse, guys. It's kind of an excuse. Oh, somebody likes my little dragonfly. Thank you. It's an excuse to not write. There's a quote that I use a lot, and I cannot remember who it's by, but it may be Terry Pratchett, who wrote Ook the Librarian. I cannot think of Discworld. Wow. But the quote goes like this: writing is easy. You just stare at a piece of paper until blood drops off your forehead. Not quite the quote, but there are so many ways to get around getting stalled. You can write a scene from a different character's point of view. You can write a scene that's after it. You don't have to write scene by scene when you write. Okay? You can say, we talk about turning points. That, here, here, and here. Big moments where the story takes another turn. You can write those points. You can write the end. You know what the end's going to look like. The rough draft, the first draft, is called rough because it's not meant to be finished. It's not meant to be a, here, editor agent person, look at this wonderful book. It's supposed to be a freaking mess. Give yourself permission to write. April Williamson, who has done, I don't know if she's still doing it, but she did a workshop called Book in a Week. Right? That's big, book in a week. The phrase she said to me in that very first, to the whole group in the very first workshop was, give yourself permission to write crap. Give yourself permission to write crap. Because you don't have to, like I said, it's not going to anybody, it's yours. And then you must edit. You must kill your darlings. That's a quote from Stephen King on writing. I'll probably say this in almost every video. If you don't have that book, get it. Amazing. Truly amazing. It will change your mind about writing. People who don't have their books professionally edited are doing themselves and their readers a disservice. Just like you don't want to proofread your own college paper because our brain sees what it wants to see. You want somebody else to kind of give it a once over, go, oh, here, look, you used you are when you meant your. Common mistake. It happens. Our brains don't function as editors for our own work. You can read somebody else's work and go, oh man, you should have done that, and look at that, that's a mistake. Oh, there's a plot hole you could drive a truck through. Things like that. So, skip writing. I love it. Pepper Jackie says she does skip writing. It's like a rock skipping on the top of a pond. Absolutely. And Amber Moonraven says she writes things in segments, finds out the easiest. Absolutely. So let's talk about how an oracle card can help you. Let me grab, I know I'm not using my oracle deck, right? I know it's not handy. I went traveling this weekend and, there it is. But that's okay. We're going to use Lynn Araujo. Lynn, someday I'm going to have to call you on the phone and have you say your name to me so I know how to say it. But Lynn is one of the people at US Games. She has a beautiful deck out called Botanical Inspirations. And we're going to do just a little, what happens next. And I have a book that's in progress. It's convoluted. It's really complicated right now. There's 10 or 12 characters. It's confusing. I'm going to have to go back through and strip characters out and make them less. I know this. But right now I'm enjoying it. But I don't know what happens next. And so the scene is they've just learned that the big bad ugly, that's the villain, for all the different groups in this book is the same person. They've just been presenting themselves as the big bad ugly for this group, as who they would expect. Okay, so he's just meeting their expectations right now. But they've just discovered that the big bad guy is the same guy. So my question is, what should they do next? And I'm just going to pull a card at random. Okay, so, hey, Stephen. And we get Gerber Daisy. Gerber Daisy, purity, cheerfulness, and innocence. The present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. Now, as a writer, I'm not going to use the I'm not going to say, well, gosh, now we have to talk about purity, cheerfulness, and innocence. I'm going to look at that and see what sparks for me. And what sparks for me is, if you are attentive, you will see it. It's Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk. Come on, focus, baby. There we go. So, if you're attentive, you will see it. That makes me think, and the Gerber Daisy, some of the characters in this book are the younger crowd. They're gamers. In fact, they come from different groups, but they met through an online game. So, and now they've met in person and have discovered some other things. So, if you're attentive, you will see it. What they're going to do is set up a trap. They're going to set up a trap with one of them or two of them going out and pretending to be, gee, we don't know anything. We're just kind of silly and stupid, and trying to trap the big bad guy to get him to reveal himself. And they'll do it for two different groups, right? So that's what they're going to do next. Thank you. Okay, good. Now, what I want to do next is, Tammy, I'm only doing writing tarot right now. This is a writing thing. I'm not doing any other things, and I don't do third-party reading. So when you ask when somebody else is coming back, that's a third-party reading, and I'm not really. That's part of my choice as a tarot reader, is I don't read for people that are not with me, because it kind of feels like spying to me. So, and I understand it's very disconcerting. You want to know when somebody comes back. I get that, but that's not how I read. So I do apologize. If somebody has a question about writing, about a character you have, we're going to do major arcana questions. And this is one of the very last things in the book, as you can see, almost the end. And what I do is, each major arcana has a question associated with it. So what I want is for somebody to put in, you're very welcome, Tammy, you're very welcome. Put in all capital letters, just put your character's name, and just put your character's name, and we'll go from there. And what we'll do is, I'll draw a card for them, and then we'll draw the major arcana first, and then we'll draw the question, the answer to the question. How's that? So I'm looking in here. I don't see any of my moderators in, so I'll just have to monitor the chat. Oh, we got 20 of us in here. Hey, guys. So we're doing writing and tarot. And if you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo, secret weapon. And it's available on all, as an ebook on all channels. And you can get a print copy via Amazon. I'll put some links down on the bottom. Or you can go to bit.ly/Arwen Hero, capital A, capital H, and get all those links. Kelly Morgan says Naya. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is Naya. And I'm going to pause this for a minute. Y'all can keep putting it in. I'll do as many as I can. And the first thing we're going to do is talk about Naya. And we're going to find her major arcana first. And I'm just going to flip till I get a major arcana. Oh, wow. Boom. Her major arcana is Awakening. It's the Judgment card. And so the Judgment question is, how can my hero shed his old fears? Now, I use the pronoun he in all of my book just to make it easier as a writer and easier as a reader. I don't want to flip back and forth. So how can Naya shed her old fears? And that's a part of your character journey, right? So let's take a look and see. And Kelly, if you'll give me some feedback, I'd appreciate it. So we're looking at Naya. How can she shed her old fears? The Wheel. Now that's pretty interesting, Kelly, because what that says is that Naya has somewhat of she believes in fate, but I get the impression that she doesn't believe in fate working out for her. I believe she has a feeling like fate's against her, nothing's going to go her way. She's got to learn to turn that wheel. She's got to learn to take charge and make things happen. So some of her fears are that she's not in control of her own life. She's not in control of what comes to her. She kind of has to take whatever comes out of the universe and deal with it. So shedding her old fears, when you get the wheel, that's the Wheel of Fortune, she's got to learn to trust that the wheel turns up, down, sideways. It keeps turning. And that when she breaks free of the idea that other people control her life, that's what she needs to do to shed her fears. Make sure other people do not own her life. So I hope that helped. Oh, hey, Nathan's in. One of my moderators is in. Woohoo! Rowan Amethyst asks about Ellen. And I'll check back and look at y'all's comments. I just want to keep going forward so we can get some readings done. So Rowan Amethyst asks about Ellen. And let's flip until we get a major. Okay. Woohoo! She's being a little bit... Wow, I am not getting a major yet, guys. That's interesting. I like it when this happens. Oh, there we go. The Sun. Card 19. Now, let's take a look at the Sun question for Ellen. Might want to hold the book right side up. What new things does Ellen need to prepare for? What new things does Ellen need to prepare for? So then again, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm doing readings for characters. I'm showing you how you can use tarot for writing. And if you're doing Camp NaNoWriMo, this is a secret weapon. It'll help you write and keep writing. So how can Ellen, what was the question again? Oh my God, you think I can read it? What new things does Ellen need to prepare for? Huh. Let's see. What new things does Ellen need to prepare for? And she gets a major arcana as well as an answer. The Chariot. This is the canoe in this deck. The canoe or the chariot is about driving forward. And this is a card of self-mastery. This is a card about Ellen possibly walking into something where she's going to be almost set adrift. Almost like, guess what? Everything you thought you had, stripped away. Go forth and be. So it's an idea that she has to learn. Her new stuff that's coming is being put in charge, being it's kind of like, you're a camp counselor and you've got 20 kids with you and there are other camp counselors and you go on a trip and all the other camp counselors get sick and you're suddenly in charge. That kind of that's what I get from the canoe being here and the mastery, because you have to take charge. You've got to drive forward. You've got to make decisions. So she's going to be put in the position of being the decision maker when maybe she hasn't been. That's kind of what I feel. Now remember, when I'm reading tarot for your character, you're still in charge. You still get to make your decisions. This is just a way to think, oh, that we can make that monkey wrench happen. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Okay, thanks, Nathan. Love you. Oh, and Chase is here. Hey, Chase. There. I just made Chase a moderator. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Madam Fancy Pants asked if it could be used for lyrical writing as well. If you mean lyrical songs, I don't see why not. I'm not a songwriter because, as anybody can tell you who's watched my tarot scopes, I'm not a good singer. Row, row, row your boat. Okay, maybe. But now I'm going back up and looking, and hopefully we'll get some answers from folks. The power, it flows through me. Look out, boy. That's Tarbro Goat, y'all. Tarbrogoat. He's a hashtag now. And you need to subscribe to his channel. Let's see. Who do I have next? I have Lily. The Hag Reads. Lily. Okay, Lily. The Hag Reads. I love that name. We're going to take a look at what we need to know for Lily. And I love the spelling. It's Lylly. Sometimes I spell people's names in my head to kind of connect with them. And I do that for characters as well. And on my blog, I actually have done readings for a bunch of different authors. If anybody reads Michelle Bardsley, her Broken Heart Oklahoma series, I did a reading for Fluff and Puff, the somewhat snarky bunny slippers in that series. That was a lot of fun. But let's see what Lily gets. So the first thing we're going to look at is what Lily gets for her major arcana. Boom. She gets one right up front. Justice. Okay, focus on the feet. Focus, focus. There you go. I love this Justice card. And Justice, the question is, what legal issue is my hero unaware of? What laws could be broken? Sounds like Lily may be in for a bit of a joyride here. So let's see what Lily gets in terms of what legal issues is Lily not aware of? What laws might be broken by Lily? Uh-oh. It's the Four of Earth. Now this is a squirrel eating nuts. There's the cairn marking the way. And traditionally this card is about resources, right? It's about not having enough. I think the legal issue that Lily may be missing is she may be trying to get something that she thinks someone else deserves. I get a feeling of her being more of a taking care of other people, like she's not trying to get it for herself. And the laws that may be broken are, she knows there's a lot of shit in that tree. She knows there's a lot of resources to be had and somebody's withholding them. She may take it upon herself to go forth and get. Which, as we know, kind of a Robin Hood scenario. And if you're a rich person, Robin Hood was a jackass. If you're a poor person, Robin Hood was the hero. Remember that point of view can be very different. And that's an interesting way to look at your character. Sometimes if you do have a stall on your writing, write about your character, describe your character from the villain or the antagonist point of view. I'm watching Poldark right now, right? I just ended season 2. I think Poldark's a jerk. I think he's a misogynist, egotistical, self-centered bastard. But he's the hero of the story. So if you look at him from other people's eyes from within the story, you get a different view of Poldark. So that's when you want to do that. Let me look down here and see. Let's see. Rowan said she went through something in her past that will be a part of her character development. Now I'm a military official. Very cool. Oh, and here's Random. Hey, Random, I've got 2 moderators in. Woohoo! Now, let's see. Nancy, the Sound Tarot, Nancy Sammy says Jen Middleton. So let's look at what Jen Middleton gets. And I'll do a couple more. And then we're going to break it. I just want to get some feedback from y'all about what you think and how's your writing doing. Tell me what your hardest thing in writing is and what you'd like to see a video on tarot and writing, how to resolve writing problems. How's that? So Jen Middleton. And boom, Jen. We get Temperance. Temperance is the card of moderation, card of change, changing energies. And Temperance, where does my hero need to practice more moderation? So this is asking where your hero needs to practice more moderation. Like if it was Luke Skywalker, we would say, Luke, maybe you want to stop and think before you go charging off. Okay, so where does Jen need to practice and learn more moderation? And we get Damn. Lightning. This is the Tower card. And aside, Alora Rain just did a fascinating video on tarot and being watered down and using the Tower as an example. So that's a really fabulous video y'all should check out. But where she needs to learn more moderation, well, maybe she wants to stop starting things and then shredding them and saying this won't work, right? And this sometimes these cards can go to the writer. So if you're writing Jen and then redoing her character over and over, you may want to stop that. But Jen may have an issue around destruction and destroying, and I almost think like a corporate raider, right? Like somebody who goes in, takes over, and just revamps everything without thinking about the structure and what's still usable in the structure. Yeah, the barn may have to come down so you can see the moon. Points if you get that reference. But the post and the beams may still be usable. So Jen's temperance lesson is be more moderate in the destructive nature. And then maybe if it's a relationship, she may go into relationships the way I used to, and seeing from A to Z. And that's, you go on a first date and the person sitting across from you says, well, I once had a dog run away and I didn't tear down heaven and earth to go find the dog. And immediately I'm like, oh, we're done. You don't like dogs. There's more to the story. Okay. So let's see. Let's go down here. Too harsh about Poldark. I know. It's my first time with Poldark. So, but season 2 kind of made me very angry. I'll probably get over it. The last episode of season 2 made me feel more kindly towards Ross. Let's see. The Hagrid's feedback is totally see that with the current problems. Haven't considered what the antagonist perspective is. Very good. Okay, let's look at the next name. Pepper Jackie is Sammy. So let's look at Sammy for Pepper Jackie, and then I'll do one more of the character readings and we'll move into questions. I saw that Random Witch had a question about writer's block, and I don't believe in writer's block, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we'll look into that. And if you want to, Random, just give me like the point in your story where you're blocked, and you can just say, he's about to climb a tree, she wants to stop him, and that's where you're blocked. Something real generic. Pepper Jackie, Sammy. Okay. And we're looking. Sammy gets the canoe for the question card. Remember, in the book, each major arcana has a question with it. And you're also encouraged to grab your major arcana and write questions for them. I think that's a very useful tool. This book helps you develop your own practice and your own relationship with tarot for fiction writing. And the Chariot. In what way can Sammy take charge of Sammy's own journey? Okay. In what way can Sammy take charge of Sammy's own journey? I'm going pronoun list because I don't know if Sammy's a boy or a girl. So, how can Sammy take charge of Sammy's own journey? How can Sammy take charge of their own journey? Sammy can take charge of their own journey by focusing on their spiritual connection to the world. There's something going on with Sammy where there is a almost like direct line to God, to the universe, to Muhammad, to Buddha, to Goddess, to whomever you want to call that person up there. They need to listen and get clear with that. They can take charge by learning how to be that channel, be that voice for the voices that are coming in. I hope that made sense, Pepper Jackie. It's like a they need to trust in their own wisdom. They need to learn their own ability. Now let's look. And I said I'd do one more. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, I'm looking. Pepper Jackie, I see you asked for another character. We're just gonna do the one. Mandra. Solaria Willow says Mandra. Mandra. I like that name. So what we need to do is, what is Mandra's question first? What is Mandra's question? Shortcut. Okay. And you see, I just awakening again. So Mandra also gets awakening or judgment. And judgment is because Arwen can't remember. How can my hero shed old fears? How can Mandra shed old fears? Now remember, when you're writing, you have goal, motivation, conflict. You have inner and outer of both of those. There's an excellent book by Deb Dixon. I'll link it down at the bottom. That it's one of those books. It's a little slim book, but man, is it packed with information. So how can Mandra shed her old fears? I'm going to assume Mandra is a female. Could be male. Okay. Wow. Now, when I'm reading this for a client, I'm going to have a different reaction. But for a character, Mandra needs to understand that she's beautiful. She may have scars. She may have things she thinks are ugly, or things that her society don't think are pretty, like a blue-eyed person in a dark-eyed culture, right? They can be seen as a ghost, spirit walker, all sorts of bad things. Well, just some in our group, spirit walker are always like, go! But Mandra needs to believe in her own beauty, believe in her own power, and let it out in the way that's authentic to her. Her fears are that if she is authentic to herself, nobody's going to see her. Nobody's going to want to look at her. She's going to be ostracized. So that's how I would read that card. Let's go look. Mandra is female. Okay. Okay. So we're moving into just questions. Oh, is it on the 20th anniversary of Harry Potter? You're a wizard, Harry. I love the Harry Potter series. So Random Witch asks, oh, Juliet says she watched Poldark in the 70s. I understand that Poldark is now Reverend Halls on the new Poldark, so that's very cool. I love stuff like that. But I will keep watching it. I am hooked thoroughly. So Random says she's blocked with horrible time with writer's block, wants to know how to remedy it. First, there is no such thing as writer's block. It's not to write. It's just like dieting. The minute you say, I need to diet, your body says, cool. We'll have a cookie with our ice cream and put whipped cream on top of that, and chocolate syrup, and another scoop of ice cream, and pound cake. And when you say, I'm going to write, your brain says, well, let's scrub the toilets, clean the cat box. Is that a cobweb over there? And it will do anything other than write, because we don't trust our ability to be writers. We think we're writing crap. And so we don't write. We stop ourselves. First, I give you permission to write crap. The first draft is supposed to be crap. Now, we're going to look at your story, and oh, Pepper Jackie said it was spot on for Sammy. Good. So Random says the relationship has to slow down in order to make sense. We have a dominant and a sub. She's learning how to be safe and the rules of BDSM lifestyle. Okay. That's actually a really, really fabulous storyline. So she's learning to be safe in this world, and that's a big thing. If you've ever been in the dominant submissive world, it's you can run into some really crappy dominance. I have a friend who had a pretty horrific experience, but we won't talk about that. So, what is the next step for Sammy? For Random Witches, dominant and sub? How can they slow down? What slows them down? How's that? What slows them down? What causes them You know, like if you're in a car hurtling down the road, what makes you stop? That's a really good card for her. That is the Five of Water. This talks about a bowl being filled up and feeling empty, feeling like you can't fill your bowl up. Random, I think this is more about you than your story. Okay. The key here, she can fill her bowl up because there's lots of water there. She can even get up and go in a different direction if she goes to this boat. So, story time, you're submissive and you're dominant may come to a point. I know what happened. I know, I got it. Boom. Your dominance ex-submissive comes and she has an emotional crisis that only he can help her with. And that causes his current submissive to take several steps back and go, whoa, because she thinks his emotional commitment is bigger to this other person. How does that work? Let's see. I'm trying to read the comments, y'all, so sorry. Solaria said that fits her. The Hagweed said that's true. And pound cake. Yeah, and emotional safety would be key too. So if she doesn't feel emotionally safe, and big reveal, I have been in a dominant submissive relationship before. So as a submissive, I understand, you know, that your physical safety is a big piece of it. Emotional safety for me comes first. If I don't feel safe with a person, there is no way anything else is happening. I don't care how skilled they are and how hunky they are. So emotional safety is a big, huge thing. And if you bring in somebody that is going to be, for him, he would take care of this ex-submissive because that's what he does, right? Dominants have a caring personality. I know people are going, no, they don't. They're big shitheads. No, they're really not. So look at that and see if maybe that could be a piece of it, having a former person come in, maybe the former subs coming in because they're having difficulty with their chosen dom now, and they need somebody else to be a sounding board for them. No sex, no emotional involvement other than that trust you get. Wow, we're broke out with moderators now. Yeah, and it's random says I am and have been in the lifestyle for years, and I always want to make safety, mental, physical, and emotions first priority in my writing. And also remember, girl, you get to write crap. You get to write holes in your story. You can write up to that scene and go in capital letters, something needs to happen here, and boom, go to the next scene. And then when you're going back over, you go and look for those something needs to happen spaces and read, and your brain's going to go, oh, well, in order to get from here to this scene 5 places out, this needs to happen. And then you can write that. We talked a little bit in the beginning about writer's block and writing a different scene, writing a different part of the book. You don't have to write from A to Z. You know, you might want to sit down and outline what your book is so far and outline where you want it to go. And then you'll see a scene that's like, oh, that'll be fun to write. Write that. Give your brain some treats. One of the things I do when I get stalled out, I write poetry. I do what I call it 9 words, the 9 words challenge. You can Google the number 9 words together poetry challenge and find a whole bunch of things. It's I've been doing it since like, gosh, 93, I think, a long time. And it's a thing, and it works for me to give my brain, my muse, a different way to create. Oh, Random said that works perfectly. Hi, Karen. You're very welcome, sweetie. You're very welcome. So, does anybody else have a question about writing, about a book they're working on? You got a problem with a book? I've got about 10 more minutes, so hit me. Ow. I am a songwriter, and sometimes the music comes first and the poet, and then I write straight poetry. Beautiful. Ha! Freaky Unicorn. I was watching on my PlayStation. I had to jump on my phone. So when you're watching on your PlayStation, do you get to like play shoot people? Shoot! Pew! Pew! Let's see. I'm writing an article, not a book. Well, you can use tarot to write an article, Chase. Watch. Let's just say you don't know what subject you want to write on. You're stuck. I know you're not stuck. You're a Libra. You probably got 15 ideas going all at once. But you can also say, okay, I've got all these ideas. Which is the right one? So I'm going to pull a card for you before you even say yes. Boom. And this is what Two Owls should be focusing on in his article. How emotions affect us and hold us down. How our emotions get in the way of what we're doing. Now, does that fit what you're doing? I don't know. But that's what I would see, because that's the well cleaner. She's cleaning out the gunk of her emotional well, and she's learning to own her whole self. She's learning to be the whole person she is, right? As a tarot reader, I have a dog who's dying right now, y'all. It's incredibly painful. But I also know that all that emotional stuff that kicks up, I must work with. I can't just shove it aside, right? I'm not going to get on YouTube and cry about it, because that's not how I deal with it. I have a Scorpio moon, so death and I have a different relationship. Let's see. Oh, Winter Random says permission to write crap. Yeah. Everyone, write it down, guys. Arwen gives me permission to write crap, or I give myself permission to write crap. Oh my God, look at my underarms jiggle. Chase, help. Chase is a trainer, y'all. Julia Cameron called it the shitty first draft. She might have. I don't recall. I'm working on an unreliable narrator. Any tips to increase stages of trust? Grun, tell me a little bit more about what you mean by unreliable narrator. Is it like, if you've read Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar series, is it like having the thief as a narrator and you don't know if they're telling you the truth or not? Give me a little more information on that. Yeah, y'all, leave the dog out of it for now, please, because I really need to. I should have said anything, but I appreciate your love and kindness. I do, but let's leave it out of the chat for now, please. I'm a Pisces. I'll weep. Thanks, Chase. He said, "Come on over. We'll work it out." I'll probably whine. I'm a whiner. So Grun asks, I'm working on an unreliable narrator. Look, so let's just look at how can Grun's unreliable narrator increase stages of trust. We'll just look at that. How can we increase stages of trust for Grun's unreliable narrator? Okay. Now, what we have here is a young child who sees an apple, who's examining the apple. There's a bunny. This is the child or page of Earth. This is the way to create stages of trust for your unreliable narrator. You can do short bits of backstory about why they are the way they are. Big thing on backstory, y'all. Nobody wants to read a frickin' info dump at the beginning of the book. Just don't. You'll hear it said very often, start the story where the story starts. Imagine this. There's a young boy. He's very small. He's on a farm. He's lost his parents. He has to learn how to farm. He has to grieve his parents. He has to learn how to relate with his aunt and uncle. And you get 30 or 40 pages of that before you ever get to, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, help me. It's boring. We as writers want to tell people about how wonderful our characters are. They're amazing. Oh my God, you're going to love them. Look at what they were like a child. It's like going to somebody's house and sitting down and watching old 8mm film on family vacations. Snippets, bits and pieces. You could say, I'm going to use Tom Groom for your character. Tom walked through the town streets. He saw a blue door and remembered the blue door that had been the home where he'd had the worst experiences in his life, where he'd been beaten, blah, blah, blah. Boom. An apple cart fell over, bringing him back to this present moment, and you move forward with the story. So all you've done is given them a little dip into backstory. And you dribble backstory. Backstory is salt in your story stew. Little bit, little bit, little bit. It helps connect and create the story, but too much salt makes it unpalatable. So, let's see. So, Rebel Hippie Witch Rodriguez. Hey, girl. I've never thought about writing a book, but I keep having dreams where I'm told, write the book. And last night I heard, just write the fucking thing. I don't know what's up. Rebel, I would sit down and pull some cards on it. Just say first, what book do I need to write? What's the subject? Is it fiction? Is it nonfiction? And just keep pulling card after card and go with your first response. Right? Don't. I'm not sure. Oh, shut up. I didn't ask you anything. I have an echo in my room. So I hope that helps. I'm trying to read. So Green says, would you choose flighty or opportunistic as a keyword? With this child of Earth, opportunistic. Opportunistic, because he's a job hunter, a job seeker, can be a job hopper. So, Kieran says, I'm eager to write books on ecology and economic. I can't read economy and ecology. I noted segment theory and any suggestion. I'm a fiction writer, honey. I'm not a nonfiction. Well, I am a nonfiction writer, but I don't know these terms. I don't know what you're asking about. If you're writing a fiction book, I've got lots of suggestions. If you're writing nonfiction, there are probably ways to use tarot for that. And you might want to write, you might want to put, let's do this. How do you combine economy and ecology? How can not Rebel Witch, I'm so sorry. How can Kieran best combine the topics of ecology and economy for a book? Resources. 5 of water. How to find resources that are local and how to use them. So how to make your economy affect your ecology locally. I think, like buy local, things of that nature, but it goes further into, growing what you have. The idea of front yard edible landscapes, I don't know, but that's what comes to me when I look at that and think about resources and emotional. That's an emotional disconnect. And so if you can talk about how to emotionally reconnect yourself with your own economy and your own ecology, maybe that would work. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, something you're passionate about. Absolutely. That's really the best thing. They talk about writing the book of your heart. Published authors will tell you that often the book of their heart is one that's written 4, 5, 6 down the road. So that's something to think about. Y'all, I'm going to have to end this because I am trying to keep my videos under an hour. I so appreciate your coming and checking out how to use tarot for writing. I hope, and I have not raised the Kindle price yet. It's still only $2.99. I'm going to do a reading actually on whether or not I really need to raise the price because I kind of like the $2.99 price. But a lot of people are telling me to move it up. So, but not yet. But this is my book, Mapping the Hero's Journey, 33 Days to Finish Your Book. It's Writing with Tarot. I hope you'll check it out. And if you do have it, please leave an honest review. Honest is the key. You're not going to hurt my feelings, okay? So, unless you attack me personally, then you're probably going to hurt my feelings, but I won't tell you. Let's see what's going on here. Writing staying power. Yeah, when you're writing, Pull a tarot card and let that be what you write about in your story. Just tell a story with tarot. Pull a card and go, Seven of Fire. She's at the forge. And your character doesn't have to be at a physical forge, but she could be at the place where she makes things happen. And you could use that as your scene, and then just keep writing, write forward. And y'all, write with joy. Seek joy, y'all. We'll talk later. And if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe and click the bell so you get notified when I go live. Bye.